Hello, I am Davina, and hello to all of you very bold, beautiful, brilliant, and evolving souls. And today's topic is going to be calling out the shame. And what I was realizing this morning as I sat here eating my oatmeal and all the usual stuff starts coming up, the fear and the confusion and the self-doubt and the terror and the freeze, like indecision. And I was going through a lot of indecision yesterday and self-doubt, and I should have done this and maybe I should do that. And it was, it's just been such a struggle, as I'm sure that you can relate to what it's like to try and live through a day or even an hour when you're dealing with a lot of shame and a lot of terror. And shame is the core wound of C-PTSD. Shame is a lie. It is the biggest lie in this world. Shame is what your parents made you believe that you were in order to control you, to dominate you, in order to avoid their own shame and pain and to avoid all of their weaknesses and shortcomings and insecurities and failures. They shamed you and they made you feel guilty, and shame and guilt are often tied together. But what is the most powerful thing you can do is to call out the shame. And as soon as I started calling it, and this is very difficult to do because shame is so attached to our, you know, it's who we believed we were. We thought we were shameful as a child. We thought there was something fundamentally wrong with us. As a scapegoat, we felt like we were defective. And so it's extremely hard to sit with the feeling of shame because it feels so true. So the feeling is real, but it's not true. And what I did this morning is as soon as I named it out loud, I feel wretched right now. That's how I feel. I feel ugly. I feel wretched. I feel despicable. I feel disgusting. This is shame. This is not truth. I am not disgusting. I am not despicable. I am not ugly. But it can feel so true. But once you start naming it out loud, it is so powerful. And what I did made it even more powerful is I sat down and I put a mirror in front of me or like across from me and just sat there and looked in the mirror and named everything that I'm currently feeling ashamed of, which is almost everything. And that's what puts us in these it is like the base emotion for everything else. Um, and so I just sat there and named I feel, yeah, I feel ashamed of my body. I feel ashamed of looking tired right now. I feel ashamed that I'm not flourishing more. I'm ashamed that I'm still unemployed. I'm ashamed that nannying is, I think, the only job I can do right now. I'm ashamed of everything. I'm ashamed of, I say, feeling tired. I'm ashamed of, um, there were so many things. I'm ashamed of being indecisive. Which is caused by the shame in the first place. Um, I was ashamed that I overcooked my noodles. Like shame, like when your parents shame you for little things, then everything just feels like it could be like the wrong move is is going to lead to your doom and demise. And that's how we can get into the freeze mode, is because every single decision feels like life and death. And but our parents are the ones who were shameful. They were shameful for invalidating you. Every time they invalidated and gaslit you, they were projecting their shame onto you. Every time they said, You're too sensitive. It's not a big deal. Calm down. That's enough. Don't cry. You're a big girl. You should know better. Every time they dismissed you and denied your feelings and otherwise, gaslit and invalidated you, they were transferring the shame onto you because they didn't know how to handle your feelings. And every time they felt like they didn't know, or couldn't, handle the situation, they were, vomiting their shame onto you through threats, through intimidation, making you feel that you were wrong. They're trying to rush you out the door because they're late, right? And instead of guiding you and helping you, they're shaming you. Like, why aren't you ready? And you should know better and wear your shoes and just stupid stuff, right? But it's not stupid when you feel that you feel stupid. You're the one that feels stupid instead of them going, "Wow, I'm really stupid parent. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to handle a 2-year-old child." They're making you feel stupid. They're making you feel wrong. They're making you feel lazy. They're making you feel whatever that they don't want to deal with. That, and this is just I can't even explain how horrendous this abuse is. And the more I heal, the more I realize how fucking horrendous, um, how just horrible. That word doesn't even explain it, but how horrible this abuse is, how insidious this is, that passing on of the shame that the narcissistic parents do every day, multiple times a day. They, they beat you down, basically. It's no different than beating a child with a stick, except they're doing it with their words. And they do this over and over again. And of course, at the end of the day, at the end of all this abuse, you're going to feel like a wretched emotional wreck. It's like if you were, they're like vampires. If you were kept by a vampire and they were sucking your blood and just keeping you alive enough so that they could suck your blood every day. This is what narcissists do. They want to feel like they're good and you're bad, and that's how it works for them. Because they don't want to see their badness, their wrongness, their weaknesses. They don't want to admit to their own shame. And this is the core of narcissistic abuse. And so when you call out that shame, when I sit here on a YouTube video talking about how ashamed I feel ashamed because my parents abused me. I feel ashamed because my parents shamed me. I feel ashamed because my parents were inept, lousy, emotionally immature parents, if you can even call them parents, besides feeding me and giving me clothes and education and a few other things. They weren't real parents. They were, in fact, the antithesis of a parent. If you write down everything that you feel like a parent should be, the narcissist is pretty much everything opposite of that. So you can understand why you feel so much shame. And then the shame becomes not an identity, but a feeling. Um, of course, I feel ashamed, and validate it and say it out loud. Admit it to a friend, admit it to your counselor. Once you start talking about it, it starts to lose its grip on you, and you realize that's not me. That's another really powerful, like, that's not me. And when I start to now notice my mind going into these patterns, I'm just like, this is all trauma brain, all of it. Like everything that goes on in my head from the time I wake up till the almost the end of the day, 95% of it is just this. It comes from the shame makes the fear, and the fear makes other things. And yeah, and then if you add on other things, of course, you're going to feel like And then the emotional pain itself can make you feel more shame. So it can just be layers upon layers of just more and more shame. So call it out, and know that it is not you. Imagine if you were caring for a child. Would you shame that child if they were tired? Would you shame that child if they were having trouble making a choice? Would you shame that child if they were struggling? Of course not. You would support them, you would hold them, you would love them. And this can be very difficult to do for ourselves because we've been so messed up, and compassion seems like some foreign thing, like um so, but yeah, just if you can imagine yourself as a child, or imagine another child that maybe maybe a niece or a nephew or something, and imagine how you would, treat that child. Like, what would you say to them in this situation, what you're going through? Because it can be so normalized in our head, the things that we're doing, and just we get caught up in it, and we just end up sort of not on obviously not consciously or purposefully, but we end up sort of feeding that, that cycle of I feel ashamed, and then I'm fawning, and then I'm feeling more shame because I'm fawning. And um anyway, it is this just the more I heal, as I say, the more unfathomable the amount of pain that is here. Um, it's just more evident to me every day, um, just how atrocious this abuse is. And it should be a crime. It should absolutely be a crime. And it is, um, yeah, it should be something that we get, compensation for, but this is a fucked up world. So anyway, I feel like I'm rambling at this point, but I really wish you many, many blessings on this journey of healing and awakening. And hang in there, hold on, hold yourself. And yeah, I'm with you. Thanks for watching.